It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Welcome to another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I am one of your hosts, as always, Mason Schmidt. Here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Ew.
And we're going to talk movies. I don't have a whole lot of energy. It's Valentine's Day weekend, and I just came off of an illness, so I am tired as shit, as always. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about movies. Corey, how was your Valentine's Day? How have you been this week in the week post Super Bowl? Not to bring that back up, I just had that thought on the drive over. And what are we drinking today?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Piece of shit.
Which, again, I like, part of me wants to razz you, but part of me feels really bad because, like, we watched part of the Super Bowl, like the latter half of the Super Bowl together, and you have a target on your back. Mm-hmm. As the only one rooting for the Patriots, you're a Patriots fan, and then everyone else, like, kind of just wants a good game, and then, like, 4 people wanted the Seahawks. So you were outnumbered the entire time.
Yeah, don't have too much to say. It's good that nobody was around me when I got home. It was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of punching. Yeah. When we're like at the party watching the game, like it was fun doing that, obviously, but I have a quiet rage where I'm like, I don't want to show these people how upset I am right now, so I just get quiet and I'm just in my mind just like this fucking
It's like if I let people see how mad I am, it's when everyone gets quiet and they just start quietly sipping their drinks, and I'm like, now I'm
yeah, I don't want to be the douche that ruins the party. I'm like fucking pissed. Yeah, man, I don't know. I can't get into it because I'm gonna get too mad. It was just a shit game, shit halftime show.
Oh, I like that.
That's it. Well,
I didn't understand any of it, and I took Spanish in college. My wife took my college Spanish classes online for me. And I took German in high school. Don't use that ever. But I didn't understand any of it. Like what he was saying. I think the message, and it just felt like a party. So I was like, this is kind of fun. It doesn't touch Kendrick's from last year. I forgot who was before Kendrick. Is that Usher? Usher was somewhere in there. Yeah. I hated Usher's show. I was like, Usher just wants everyone to get on stage and have sex with his sweaty ass. Like, that's what's going on anytime he's on stage. But yeah, the Super Bowl was kind of a wash. The fucking ads were also really... It felt very AI-focused with everything. And I was just like, this is so dystopian. Like, this is upsetting. And we'll talk about AI and what that could lead to in a movie that we saw this past week. But, I don't know. And watching the Super Bowl ads, I was like, these used to be like the funny ones. Or like the GoDaddy one, where like the fat gingers making out with the hot blonde chick for way too long. You just hear their tongue smack. Or
this year it was just like, hey, Ring camera. We can access your cameras.
Everyone.
We'll only use it to find a dog.
We promise.
We won't use it for anything else.
Promise.
Even if you don't consent to us using it, we can access that shit.
Pinky swear.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was just kind of a shit day overall. One great movie trailer in there that we will talk about. That was a fucking great surprise.
I don't think we talked about on here, but you called it. I was leaving after recording last week. I just had to go to a birthday party before the Super Bowl. And you brought it up, like, hey, what's the one thing, like, trailer-wise, if we were to get it tonight, would you be really excited about? And I don't even know what my answer was or if I had an answer, but you're like, I want, Adventures of Cliff Booth. We'll talk about it later, but I want that. And then when that came on, I wasn't with you yet, because I was at the birthday party for my nephew, and I was just up to the screen, like a kid playing Nintendo 64, like, just eyes on the fucking screen. And I was just so I was like, God, Corey was right. 2, he's got to be losing his shit right now.
It was incredible. One of my favorite movie characters of all time. We'll get into that. A lot of fun. But yeah, this week we're drinking a little triple berry baby kettle sour from Head Flyer Brewing. This shit's really good. It tastes like fucking juice.
Yeah, this is great.
Cranberry juice. So, no, it's tight. We still got a big sports weekend, man. I mean, Olympics are on right now. We're watching. It's NBA.
All shit with curling.
Yeah, curling's tight.
Getting pissed right now.
Yeah, hockey's going on. That's fun. NBA All-Star Weekend's going on. Yeah. Very quickly wanted to say with that Anthony Edwards, our Minnesota boy, love him, at the All-Star Weekend, he gave his Mount Rushmore of white boys. Just wanted to quickly say, he said very clearly his number 1, Justin Bieber. And then his other ones were Timothée Chalamet, Peter Parker, and
just in general, just all of
just
them?
Peter Parker, and then White Chocolate, who is Jason Williams, the basketball player, if you don't know. So, like, 3 of those I fuck with. Justin Bieber being the clear number 1, I was like...
I mean, Peter Parker doesn't count. Like, you want Toby, you want Andrew, you want Tom Holland, like, what are you talking about?
I wanted to get your take on Mount Rushmore white boys, if you had any that you would toss on there, because like currently Timothée Chalamet I think gotta be on there. White chocolate, absolutely.
I think if we're saying white boys, it makes me think of like younger, so I won't say like a Brad
Don't say
Pitt.
boys like that. That's
like
weird to say boys.
I don't know. It felt like we're not.
You feel
talking
creepy
about,
when you say
we're not,
it.
Sorry, we're not talking about like established people like Sam Rockwell, who we're talking about later, or like Leonardo DiCaprio. But I think Timothée Chalamet, honestly, maybe Jacob Elordi at this point. He's kind of solidifying in a completely different realm. Shane Gillis just cracks me up.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Rob
know.
Dyrdek from Ridiculousness.
Whoa. No.
That's on the white boy. What do you mean no?
No. Like
That's fucking awesome.
dude's like 90. Like,
Travis Pastrana? Tony Hawk?
Who are you talking about right now?
What do you mean who am I
This
talking
feels
about?
like I'm watching MTV too, as like a 9-year-old.
Anyways.
Watching Silent Library and Robin Big, and being like, can someone throw a fucking dodgeball at Chanel West Coast right in the mouth?
Oh, that's true.
That happens.
Yeah,
Like,
anytime she laughs, it's just like, no.
It's tough. Anyways, we should talk about movies. Pretty big week. It was Valentine's Day just yesterday, and to kind of send up the holiday, we had Wuthering Heights. We had a couple of different movies come out this week, but Wuthering Heights was the biggest release, I feel like I'd say, from this past week. This is coming from director Emerald Fennell. This is one of the many, I think there's upwards of 10 feature adaptations of Wuthering Heights. Emerald Fennell, director of Promising Young Woman, which I don't know if you can see it over my laptop. We got a Blu-ray copy right here. Also director of Saltburn, which I love. Saltburn and Promising Young Woman, I both really like those movies. Saltburn probably is my favorite of her films thus far. This is starring Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, Hung Chow, and Alison Oliver. It's a classic love story. It's will they, won't they. It's star-crossed lovers. You got a little bit of like this class issue and debacle between the two leads. And I don't know, it is a classic love story, and I feel like I've seen interviews now since seeing the movie where Emerald Fennell was like, yeah, there's quotations around Wuthering Heights, around the title, because this is my version of it. Like, this isn't like a true one-to-one adaptation. This is how I wanted this. This is how I've grown with this book, how I envision this book, how I wish some things might have gone versus how they probably did in the book. I haven't read the book. So I think she touched on the importance of like what her Wuthering Heights is going to be. It's going to be her her interpretation of it, her version of it, what she wanted. And with that, it's basically still, with her little creative ideas, it's still a very generic love story of will they, won't they, oh, they're having an affair, oh, she doesn't want to date him because he doesn't have money, oh, now he has money, she wants to jump his bones, and it's like, the one thing I've heard about Wuthering Heights going into it is from one of me and my wife's friends, Laura. She mentioned, she's like, the issue with Wuthering Heights is that all of these characters suck ass. They're all horrible human beings, and that I can attest to. This movie was hard to watch at times because the entire time I was like, Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, you're all very like attractive people. You have great chemistry on screen, but you're horrible people. You are just no redeeming factors. You're just making decisions selfishly all the time, and you don't take others into account when you're making these decisions. You're just throwing caution to the wind. I'm going to do what makes me happy right now. Fuck everything else. And it's just like, okay. Why do I root for you then? Why do I care about you in this movie? I will say, the look of this film, the cinematography, I forget the cinematographer of this, but it's the same cinematographer for First Man, for No Time to Die, Babylon even.
Linus Sandgren, I think?
Yeah, Linus Sandgren. And Saltburn. So it's visually arresting. It looks great. There's a couple of shots, it's in the trailer, of Jacob Elordi with like kind of that red sunset like landscape behind him, and it looks like it's something from Gone with the Wind. And this film does have this like kind of classic feel, but also it's more of like a more modern retelling of it with Emerald Fennell's stylings. And it kind of, I brought this up to Corey before we started recording, I brought it up to my wife when we were watching the movie in theaters. It feels kind of similar in the way like Baz Luhrmann doing Romeo plus Juliet, which I fucking hate that movie. This movie works for me, for the most part. Even though I don't care for the characters, don't like them. It's formulaic. Kind of see where it's going. Granted, there are some random, just like sheer atrocities that both of these characters perpetrate. Mostly Jacob Elordi. You find out that he can be kind of horrible. And it surprised me. I was like, damn, for this being like the Valentine's Day movie, like go see it with your loved ones. This is a depressing, dour, sad movie with some really like big gut punches where I was like, I don't feel well. Like I need to shower and maybe forcibly throw up in the toilet right now. Like I don't feel good. I will say, in like kind of the fading moments of the movie, it started to work on me. Like it was hitting all this like the necessary steps in those final moments as it was closing out where I was like, yeah, obviously this is what happens, this is where it goes. But it still kind of worked on me, and like a lot of the women in the theater were tearing up. We had a box of tissues because my wife is sick, and we on the way out we're like, do you need these? To basically everyone we passed by in the theater. There's a couple moments in that final, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes where I was like, okay, it's kind of working on me a little bit. I started to get a little choked up, but that little 5-minute snapshot does not perfectly kind of encapsulate how I feel about this movie. I think overall it's fine. It's not bad. It's visually well done. It has an interesting soundtrack. I don't love the amping up of like more modern pop music into period dramas. It kind of feels out of place. You kind of get that sometimes in Peaky Blinders where they'll put more modern music in it. But in Peaky Blinders, which I haven't watched a lot of it, but what I have seen, it works. Mm-hmm. And it fits the tone. And this, it does kind of fit the tone, but it took me out of it. Like I said, kind of that Romeo plus Juliet Baz Luhrmann issue that I have with that film. Cast is great, good chemistry. Hong Chow, again, great performance, horrible character, just the worst person ever. And then I can say that about just about anyone in this movie, where I wasn't rooting for any of these characters the entire time. Corey, I know you'll probably watch it at some point. I doubt you'll see it in theaters. Do you have really any expectations or anticipation for it? What's your kind of take on, I guess, Emerald Fennell to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I've liked Promising Young Woman and Saltburn, both very stylistically cool, and I think the Baz Luhrmann comparison is actually pretty good. I mean, I feel like they both, like with the music part to it, with like The Great Gatsby, that was a big thing of like modern, like Jay-Z's playing in fucking Great Gatsby.
I like that movie and I hate that aspect of it.
So I think that they're kind of similar, just on the same end there, of their styles and how they approach movies. But yeah, as you know, just a single white dude, I was like, I don't know if I can go see that. Like, I can go see it, but I'm just like, I don't know if I can, like,
opening weekend, Valentine's Day weekend.
Like, I'm not going to sit in between, like, 18 couples in the theater and be like, hey, I'm here too, guys.
I didn't see a lot of guys in the theater. It was a lot of just, like, women going with their friends. A lot of, like, Galentine's type date things. I'm like, okay, cool. But every woman was crying in the theater except for my, like, Allie at the end of the movie. She was like, that didn't hit me at all. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay, that's okay. And we both were, like, kind of meh on the movie. I will say, I don't know what Emerald Fennell is expecting of Jacob Elordi, but in almost every scene in the second half of the movie, the man comes out of the shadows in every shot. Like, he's walking from shadow enclosure. I'm like, is he supposed to be fucking Batman? Like, what's going on? Every scene, it's him walking into frame out of the dark. I'm like, oh my god, okay. That's just a stupid nitpick that I had the entire movie. I'm like, where is he? In the dark. There he is. Oh, here he comes. Oh, he's going to kiss Margot Robbie and then run off because they're having an affair. Whatever. Cool. Don't give a shit. Like, you're both horrible people. Oh, it's not going to work out. One of you dies? Oh, no. Oh, I'm so sad. Spoiler alert. So I can't really recommend it. It's my least favorite of Emerald Fennell's work. It does every trope well, but it's still formulaic in the way it does it. It just has that nice Emerald Fennell kind of style on top of it, kind of a nice top coat of paint, trying to cover up a lot of issues that I have with this movie. Mm-hmm. So, can't recommend it. Not the best movie from this past weekend, as we'll get into some better movies that we saw. But I get the acclaim and I get the excitement for it, just didn't really live up to it. I'm
not familiar with the book at all or any of the other adaptations, so I guess like it'll be fun to just kind of watch this. Probably this will be the first adaptation I watch eventually. But I think the one thing this movie does have that's kind of apart from it is for Jacob Elordi's Oscar chances. This shouldn't be a thing that goes into consideration for Oscar voters, but Oscar voting closes, I think it's March 5th. And with this movie, obviously he's nominated for Frankenstein, but with this movie kind of being in the zeitgeist right now, people are talking about him, he's on the press tour, he's campaigning for it. That helps. That's a thing that Oscar voters see. So I think that if he were to try and maybe take from Stellan Skarsgård, who's kind of the front runner right now, I think that's a part of it too. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, as we're actually today a month out from the Oscars, which is fucking awesome. We'll get into some award season stuff in a second here, but I'll check this movie out at some point. Probably not in theaters, but a movie I did see that we both saw and I was very excited for was Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which is a fun title in the context of the movie too.
Yeah.
And it comes from Gore Verbinski, who it's been like since 2017 that he put out a movie, A Cure for Wellness, which is a really good, underrated movie. It's creepy. It's got some weird imagery in there. Obviously, the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean's. Fucking Rango is tight. I love that little lizard. Oh, that shit is awesome. Really? So, very diverse director. Also, The Ring. A lot of just kind of diverse movies he's done. This movie is about Sam Rockwell, comes from the future, arrives in this diner in Los Angeles, and he's like, I need some amalgamation of people in this diner to help me stop AI from taking over the world. They go on this little adventure, this journey to try and stop computers and technology from taking over, essentially. And this is a wacky movie. This is a fucking fun movie. This is one of the more unique unique mainstream movies I've seen in a long time. There's a lot of weird indie movies that it's like
24 shit.
Yeah, it's like we expect that from those where they're interesting and strange, but as like a more mainstream big Valentine's Day weekend release, this one's a lot of fun. It does have a lot to say about the dangers of technology and AI, the over-reliance on social media. And I think that message works overall because we may not realize how true it is, like when we're in it. I think sometimes the message was a little bit too heavy-handed, and with movies like this is a very satirical movie. It's very intentionally in your face, and our themes are right there. So, when I talk about it with people sometimes, or movies like this, where they're like, "Well, that's the point of it," and I'm like, no, I understand that that's the point. It's just whether I kind of prefer that or a little bit more subtlety, a little bit more rein back. But either way, the vibe is that everybody's sitting on their fucking phones all the time. And there's also some themes in this movie about school shootings.
And other current kind of issues that we deal with, aside from just technology. But, it does talk about and dive into the repercussions of school shootings and how a person can kind of rehabilitate and grieve through that and figure out solutions to grieving. And granted, this is not the most subtle movie. I was so blown away by how they handled school shootings. I'll let you kind of dive into that first.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the first maybe act and a half. There are some, as these group of characters from the diners are on their journey, it does flashbacks. So you have one for Juno Temple, you have one for Michael Pena and Zazie Beetz, and Haley Lou Richardson gets one. So really great cast here. But we get one segment about school shootings, and this is where it started to feel a little bit like they're trying to tackle too much in this movie. Like the AI technology theme, I'm like, I get it. Like even if it's a little not as subtle as I would like, it's still I understand this is the focus. With that being said, that flashback sequence has some of the boldest comedy I've seen in a while. Of it's a heavy topic of school shootings. A lot of people have probably know somebody that was affected by something, or it's a very, in America, a very tense topic for sure. But they handle it in a way that is so funny that I didn't think you could do in a mainstream movie. And so the segment in itself, it felt almost like a Black Mirror or like a Twilight Zone episode. Yeah. And I think within itself, it works really well. In context of the movie, they bring it in so it's necessary for the plot for certain elements of what that character, how they're contributing to the story.
Yeah.
But it not only dragged the pace in a little bit with some of the flashbacks, not only just that one, but some of the other ones too. I'm like, these are going on a little bit too long. I kind of want to get back to our characters on their journey. But I think the focus was shifted for just a second, but then it kind of gets back to AI technology stuff.
Yeah, it kind of does the Reservoir Dogs style structure of all right, well, let's dive into this character a little bit and get them up to speed to how we got here. All right, now this character, and with Juno Temples, that's where you get that exploration of oh, she lost a son in a school shooting, but how they treat it is so blasé, and all the other moms that are waiting in the counseling office as they found out that their son or daughter passed away in this shooting, and they look at Juno Temple, who is distraught, and they're like, oh, first kid? They're like, oh, well, we need to go across town right now for this counseling thing and whatnot, but don't want to do that with the traffic right now. So, yeah. all right, well, maybe do it another day. You probably won't want to do it either because of the traffic. And it's just like, is this how they're approaching this dark of a subject? Because, again, it's so blasé and it's so just, like, nothing to all these characters, which serves a point in what it's trying to get across to you of how just it's so something consistently happening that it becomes background. Like, it's something that you're not surprised by or shocked by anymore. But I get why that happened, or, like, how they incorporate that into Juno Temple's character and her depth for a large portion of the movie until we get some more reveals later on in like the third act about certain characters. I feel like she is kind of the emotional punch of the movie, and her character carries a lot of the emotional weight of the movie once you kind of realize what she's gone through and what she's pursuing, what she's trying to get back. Because she goes to this place where you can kind of make a copy of your kid, and you can design, like, it's not a one-to-one, like, it will look like your child, and you can choose, like, a select, like, one of 58 personality traits.
Just one, though.
Just one.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't, like, were they sporty?
Were they weird?
Were they completely unhinged? Like, one of them, which they didn't select, it was, she's in, like, a one-on-one with this person that's, like, basically Geek Squad Black, or, like, Best Buy trying to help this woman order a new son. And he's, like, just toggling through, like, a presentation of screens. And it said, one of the descriptives was leaky. And I was like, I feel like that's what my mom would have chosen for me. Just leaky. Boom. I saw that, and they didn't fucking... There's the amount of Easter eggs in those scenes of just like, what else is on here? I can't wait to rewatch this movie for that alone. But yeah, it handles it in a blasé way, which by doing it does serve a bigger purpose. It makes Juno Temple more of the emotional core of the movie for a long run of it. It did, as soon as we got into that, because I think it was maybe Michael Pena and Zazie Beetz that we start off with that kind of augmented like chapter approach, and I was like, can we stop? Can we just not do this?
Again?
Can we not section out movies? Can you just show me the fucking story? But then it worked, and it did do a good job at kind of grounding these characters and bringing them back into the movie, and like, all right, this is where they're all standing now, and it's like, well, maybe just start there first and then gradually get here, but again, that's not the most interesting structurally set up movie, so it's like, whatever. But yeah, the humor in this movie was nonstop, just taking me out at every corner.
It's Sam Rockwell
is
just so still underrated. He's an Oscar winner, and somehow like he shows up in a movie like this as the sort of, you mentioned it, kind of Jack Sparrow type of the zany kind of lead character who's kind of pushing everybody along.
If you're trying to figure out Pirates of the Caribbean 6, don't bring back Captain Jack. Just bring Sam Rockwell in as a pirate and have him be the lead.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And he's a great lead for the movie. I thought Haley Lou Richardson was also great. She kind of has, again, a emotional punch with her backstory, and you see why she is such a big player in this. And like I liked a lot of the imagery in this movie as far as like the kind of AI and technology. There's like a lot of scenes at a school with teenagers on their phones, and then this kind of like pyramid prism thing shows up on their phone.
Dark Side of the Moon album cover.
Yeah, exactly. And then they like turn into zombies almost, which is like obviously saying a lot. But there's that, and then even when we get into the final scenes of the movie, which I don't want to spoil, but just what the reveal of kind of where this AI is coming from. I like the initial visual of just what it looks like. I thought it was really striking and really cool. And I like, there's, I don't want to spoil a lot, but there's a big cat presence towards the end of this movie that I was like, I could have done without that.
Yeah.
Everything else with the ending and how it wraps up, and you kind of get this almost false ending in a way, and then you kind of go back to where we started this movie a little bit. I really dug all that. I thought it was really cool and was sort of a message to anybody watching, and of like, yeah, like you can, this is a powerful thing that we're dealing with that's currently going on right now. As we just talked about, there's a lot of AI in Super Bowl ads, and there's a lot of technology, and whether, like, there's conversations too about in this movie of like, yeah, like technology started out where you were on your phone for a couple hours in the morning, or like for a couple minutes in the morning, checking social media, and then it turned into all day you're sitting there and doing that. And
basically turned into people from WALL-E, like
just big fat fucks in the chair. And like it turns from just being a phone where you call and text people to this thing that has everything in your life on one thing. So I think it does have a lot of great things to say about that. And the message clearly didn't get across because there was a guy in front of me that took out his phone a couple times in the movie and was just scrolling. And I'm like, what better...
Take a photo of that.
Yeah, like, this is perfect for just where we are at in the world of, like, oh, this movie about AI and phones. Let me fucking check my text real quick here.
That reminds me.
Yeah, hold on. So that's, that says a lot about where we are right now. But I think that this movie is, like, I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah. I think this is a special movie that, even though I have some of the issues with kind of the focus a little bit at sometimes, and then I think it is just a little bit too long. And I think some of that is parts of the ending that could be trimmed up. Some of those flashback scenes could be trimmed a little bit. But overall, like, I think this is going to become like a cult classic and a warning sign for sure. I mean, we've been dealing with AI and stuff for the last few years, kind of in big impacts, I feel like, just kind of coming into, like, workplaces and stuff. At least in my workplace, AI has been like, we need to use it for this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. I've never used AI. I fucking hate it. Yeah. It's a cool, special, weird, wacky, fun adventure. There's some great action in here, too. It's fun to just go along with these characters as they're trying to figure it out. It also makes a great choice of not doing the Groundhog Day thing. With Sam Rockwell's character, he has tried this multiple times. 117 times. And he's tried different combinations of people to try and stop AI, and it hasn't worked. And they make a smart choice of not showing you multiple of those things. It just picks up here, and he's like, nope, I've tried working with you. Your knee is awful, and you can't come here.
Quit raising your hand.
Put your hand down. Yeah. You can't come on this one. Just sit there.
You come every time, and you betray me at the end. You get to the end, and you stab me.
Yeah, and even just great things of, like, a woman in the diner that he's like, man, we had great chemistry, and we don't want it to happen, but it does every time you come on the trip. Yeah. So, like, that's a great way to approach this, because we've had so many movies. We have had Edge of Tomorrow. We've had Palm Springs. A lot of things like that. So I think the movie just made smart choices all around. The Gore Verbinski energy in the movie I just thought worked so well. And it's enjoyable. It has a lot to say. Sometimes the focus is a little shifted. Could be trimmed up a little bit. But this is a special movie. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, this is so far my second favorite movie of the year. Behind Bone Temple for me. I really enjoyed watching this. It feels like World's End at times, like Edgar Wright, World's End. Just they're going on a trek, and weird sci-fi shit just keeps popping up and happening. They just have to figure out their way through the night, or their way to this specific spot, this place. And I think that the camaraderie and, like, the chemistry between the group of, like, do we believe this guy? Like, we've gotten this far. Do we keep going? We could die. And he's like, well, you're going to die either way. It's like, do you want to be a part of the solution, or you just want to die right now? Like, you can get taken out whenever you want. There's some good action scenes in this movie. One of the first bits of, like, really dark humor in this movie that hit me like a truck was they get their core group, which is, like, maybe the first 20 minutes of the film. And then he's like, all right, well, we need to find a way out of this place, out of the diner. And they're like, why can't you just tell us, like, the definitive way? He's like, well, every way kind of has, like, their own issues. Like, we'll definitely die back there. If we go out the front door, we're a little late for that opening, so we'll probably get shot now. You lead the way. Yeah, you be a good scout lead to your Boy Scouts, and you lead the way. You go out, and the dude goes out and immediately gets shot to death. Like, you just hear him off screen just get peppered, and it's like, I fucking cackled. And there's a person, I didn't have a bad viewing experience. There's a person in the same row as me that was definitely had a few too many and was a little bit off of it. He was just a bit drunk and loud during the movie, but it made the movie honestly more engaging and fun because he was losing his shit to all this stuff with me. But yeah, this movie had some really great humor. It's like a solid, like, it's almost a home run. There are, like, pacing issues, maybe a little bit too long. Sometimes the messaging is way too over the top and hitting you over the head with it, to where I'm like, okay, just rein it in a little bit. Like, I get it. It comes across, but just rein it in. So it's a really fun movie. Of the movies I saw this week, definitely go check it out. I don't know how big of a pop. I don't know how many people are going to go really seek this movie out, because I feel like the marketing kind of came out of nowhere. It was that first trailer, and now it's out in theaters. And I really enjoyed this movie. So it's weird. It's out there. It's fun. Sam Rockwell is an amazing lead. And I actually really like Michael Pena in this movie. I'm like, Michael Pena, you're not in enough stuff, like, consistently. So it was so nice to see him in this movie. Definitely go check it out. It's a great watch. Another movie that we got in wide release this past week was Crime 101. This is kind of being looked at as one of the better and most recent forays into the heist thriller genre. This is starring Chris Hemsworth, got Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan, Corey Hawkins, Nick Nolte, Monica Barbaro, stacked cast, and it's coming from director Bart Layton. And I didn't know this until I was putting the show notes together, but Bart Layton also directed a movie a number of years back called American Animals, which is a movie I fucking love. It's such an interesting crime heist movie as well, but the way they do it, since it's based on true events, is that it's half documentary, half real-world interviews with these people, and then the movie shows us its dramatic retelling. And I love that movie. It's really interesting. So to have an accomplished director handling that genre again was something that I was like, okay, I have confidence in this. I mentioned this before on this podcast, where it's nice when you can sit down and you know a movie, you can just kind of like let the movie take you. Like you have confidence in the team, the cast, the movie has already kind of won you over before it's really even started, and you're like, I know it's gonna be good. Just take me on a ride. And you're not like, all right, well, are you good? Are you bad? I knew that this movie would be good, and it was largely really good. The cast is great. It took me like 80% of the movie I was telling Corey until I realized, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This movie is basically a cat and mouse game between Thor and Hulk. Didn't even think about that the entire time, which is kind of a testament to how good both performers are in this movie. You don't really see those characters, really. Mark Ruffalo maybe has the most endearing character of the cast, where he's just like this schlubby, like kind of formulaic schlubby detective. He's towards the latter like portion of his career. He's maybe facing retirement soon. He's getting separated from his wife. Like, he's not doing well. But there's this elusive thief that he has this theory. This guy is hitting all these jewelry places. All these crimes are happening along the Freeway 101 in LA. And he's like, well, if I can pin all these on this guy and find this guy, all these cases will be solved. But his chief is like, well, yeah, but we've already closed some of these cases. So if your good cop work undoes some of our previously completed cop work, then it's bad cop work. You're going to undo our numbers. So you get conflict there. Cat and mouse between him and Chris Hemsworth. You got Nick Nolte, who we, maybe not so much on the podcast, but just personally, me and Corey joke about Nick Nolte a lot for some reason. He's like
I'm Nick Nolte.
I'm Nick Nolte. It's kind of just like the Gary Busey kind of butter sausage. Like, we
that comes up so much.
I know. We rag on both of them just because they're at a certain point in their career where I'm like, I don't know how much of their brain is still intact. They're a little bit fried, and they're just really old, and they can really only do small bit parts in things, which kind of is true with Nick Nolte in this film. He has a very small role, but it's a really good performance, so that was really surprising to see. This movie largely is kind of just Heat, the Michael Mann film. If you've seen early Michael Mann works, you've seen a lot of the stylistic elements and the visual flair that this movie offers. It's a lot of kind of watered down Heat. The story, cat and mouse game, well, similar to Heat. But I do like what Chris Hemsworth has as a character here. He's more closed off. He's kind of similar to almost like his character in those Extraction movies on Netflix, where he's efficient at what he does. He doesn't have much of a personal life. He's just good at what he does, and he wants to make a lot of money. We don't get a whole lot of backstory. They keep it kind of vague, because I feel like if they really delved into it, the hints that we get of it, I'm like, oh, this is just a formulaic backstory. By not really delving into it, it kind of was a positive in a way where I was like, you know what? We can just leave it kind of bare. We'll fill in the gaps where we need to, but it's formulaic already. This does kind of boil down into like the neon-soaked nightlife of LA, things that you get in Heat or in Thief with Michael Mann, which not LA, but still, or even like Drive from 2011. Like, it has that visual flair to it. It looks great. It has great chemistry between the cast, and how each character connects and runs into each other, and how they kind of, some have shared goals, some have completely polarizing goals, and how they kind of shuffle each other around and stuff. I really enjoyed. Barry Keoghan is kind of just turning into a turd all the time. Like, he's just an asshole. He's a lizard. He's a little frog in every movie he's in. And I mean that in the best way. Like, he's just being typecast as like this little insufferable prick all the time. Like, he's just like the worm in every movie. I'm like, you cheated on Sabrina Carpenter, and now you're just a worm in every movie, dude. Like, how did this happen? Like, you're great in Banshees of Inisherin, but you're just kind of like the little shithead in everything. Like, he's not, like, he's a competing thief in this kind of crime world that works alongside Chris Hemsworth and goes to bat up against Chris Hemsworth. And it's just like, Chris Hemsworth is so polished and clean in how he does things, and then Barry Keoghan is just a worm who just run and gun, quick and fast, and makes it dirty, and it's just like, you're such a little shithead. his character kind of grades on me the most, not because Barry Keoghan does. His performance is great. But his character just kind of comes in whenever the story needs him to. Like, it's very convenient. He just propels things to happen, which, like, granted, okay, hey, this character makes the story move forward. That's how characters are supposed to really work, but you can feel it in this movie where he will show up and it's like, you've been gone for, like, 20 to 30 minutes, and you show up now. Kind of convenient for everyone involved. You can also there's a couple of different subtle romantic there's one subtle romantic relationship that's maybe kind of hinted at between Mark Ruffalo and Halle Berry that I really liked. And I like how they kind of left that as is. It was just like a good relationship between the two of them. They had excellent chemistry. Chris Hemsworth with Monica Barbaro, you could kind of scrap it just because it's not offering you a whole lot of like interesting backstory into any of these characters. It's just, oh, you're quiet and distant and you want to make a lot of money. Okay, why? Oh, because you have a number in mind that you want to make this amount of money and you'll be successful. Okay, why? Oh, that's just it. Okay. You didn't come up from having a lot as a kid. Okay, that's it. And, like, it's typical shtick, and I think you could remove, as much as I hate to say it, because Monica Barbaro is an amazing actress and she's great to look at. She is so hot. And I would, like, Chris Hemsworth and her on screen, I was like, holy shit, you guys have amazing kids. But I was like, wow, you can kind of take this character out of it and streamline the story because the movie does feel a little bit long at times. It's 2 hours and I think 20 minutes is the official runtime. It does, in the latter moments, kind of run a little bit long. Overall, I think it is a well-made thriller. It is a bit formulaic, a bit kind of derivative of films like Heat and other Michael Mann kind of like Thief and more like nightlife LA-themed films, or even like Collateral. So it's derivative of that, but on its own, if you haven't seen those movies and you saw this first, I think you might really love this. But it kind of depends on how well versed you are into a lot of like crime films of previous decades. I did enjoy it overall, though. The cast is great. I think there are some really good moments of tension and suspense, some good car chases, some good action. This is not a very action-heavy movie. I think the trailer might be a little bit misleading with that. Action happens, but it's maybe like a 3-minute chunk, 45 minutes later. 3-minute chunk, ending of the movie. And it's just like, okay, which it works for the movie, but if you're going in thinking that this is going to be like a real big action-heavy film, it's not. So just kind of temper those expectations. It's a good movie surrounding that. Mm-hmm. So definitely, I would recommend it, even though it is a bit derivative.
I'm a sucker for any heist action-type movies. I feel like I haven't seen it yet, but I feel like I may feel the same way that I did with Den of Thieves when I watched that last year. Yeah. Where it's just like a nice movie, feels like Heat, but I still enjoy the genre. Yeah. And it's like even a mediocre one, I still get enjoyment out of it. So
heist movies are just so fun.
Yeah, like, they're great.
Seeing people like formulate a plan and have it come to fruition and go off like without an issue, or it does have an issue and they have to kind of recalibrate and come up with a new idea on the spot. And I brought this up. I like movies about characters that are good at something being good at it, or smart people being smart. Chris Hemsworth is a good thief, and you see him be a good thief, and no complaints. Satisfying as all hell, fun to watch.
So. Very diverse release week, so go support one of these movies. If it sounds interesting to you, go check it out, because it's great to see them on the big screen. So I mentioned that the Oscars are in a month, and kind of been working through. We've both been watching movies nominated this year. One of them that I checked out was The Ugly Stepsister, and it was nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling at the Oscars this year. And this is essentially a kind of twisted take on the Cinderella story, but the focus is not on the Cinderella character, it's on the stepsister, the ugly stepsister, so to speak. And it follows Elvira, the stepsister, as it's the story of this prince, and he's holding the ball, and all the girls want to go there and be the princess, whatever. They want to kind of physically transform themselves to be the bride-to-be, so to speak. And this, like I said, is a twisted take on the story, because there is a lot of very gory and fun little body horror things in this movie. Part of the reason why it was nominated for makeup and hairstyling. And that's why I love when the Oscars recognize a movie like this, even if just with one nomination, where it's like a movie I probably wouldn't have checked out. Like, if I would have scrolled through it, I'd be like, it's not really for me. Yeah. But having the nomination there and actually watching it, I'm like, I'm happy I checked this out. It's a cool little movie. It's a Norwegian film. And my subtitles were, on Disney Plus, it was weird. It was turned off on there. And for the opening scene, I'm like, no subtitles were coming on. I'm like, maybe this is intentional, because sometimes movies do that. So I was like waiting. I'm like, okay, let me wait till it gets to like another scene. I'm like, okay, I need to figure out, because nothing's happened. I don't understand. And it was just turned off. It was fucking weird. But it's a nice little movie with the body horror is really what stood out, I think, probably to anybody that watches it. It's kind of like The Substance in a way of like trying to physically transform yourself to appease somebody else or to appease the social norms, the social standards that you think you need to achieve, even though you may be a pretty like attractive person before you go through all this. There are some moments with tapeworms in this, where trying to obviously get thinner and fit into a dress or whatever, taking tapeworms, and then when the tapeworms come out, fucking disgusting. There's points with trying to fit into the shoe. That's the big thing with the Cinderella story. Fit into the shoe. It's not this cute little thing of like, it fits on Cinderella. What a happy ending. This one's like, I need to chop off my toes so I can fit into the shoe. And then realizing that you did it on the wrong foot. And having to do it on the other foot. And then probably the one that got me the most, because anything with eyes really gets me, like gory stuff with eyes. There's a part where a doctor is like putting a hook through for eyelashes, and you just see the eyelid where it just keeps going through, and like they're sewing like fake eyelashes on there. A lot of great stuff. The makeup and prosthetics and all that stuff is fantastic in the movie, but a lot of grossness. If that's not for you, this movie's probably not for you. But it is kind of the theme of the beauty is pain and what you're willing to do to achieve that. And I enjoyed the movie. Like it was a nice little surprise. I thought all the performances were good. I think it looks good. And again, just like I like that the Academy is recognizing this small Norwegian movie. If Sentimental Value hadn't been the Norwegian submission for international feature this year, I think this movie probably would have been next in line for their pick. So I like the movie. It's on Hulu right now. Definitely check it out if you want to watch more of the Oscar nominees, or just see a movie that's kind of weird, kind of out there, different take on this classic fairy tale that you know. It still has the Cinderella character in there, but the focus is shifted to the stepsister and kind of the evil stepmother in there, as well as kind of a bigger player. So glad I checked this one out, and really the nominee I think is well deserved after watching this movie.
Yeah, seeing that you watched this movie this past week was a bit of a surprise, just because I just didn't see you seeking this one out, but I'm happy you did. I saw this movie, I think, came out in like April of last year, so for it to stick around and last within the Oscars conversation and get nominated is really cool. The performances are great, but yeah, the makeup and hairstyling, it got nominated for that, and that's why you should watch this movie, because it is unsettling and disgusting. Like the tapeworm thing specifically, when I was trying to put together the thumbnail for today's video in this episode, I was like, what from Ugly Stepsister can I pull up? And then I just saw all of the scenes, and I was like, oh my god, it's rough, but it works so well, and it's a good retelling of that movie. This feels in line with even one of last year's Best International Film nominations, The Girl with the Needle, which I think was from Denmark. That movie I loved from last year, but it had a lot of unsettling imagery that I was like, oh my god, stop doing that. Oh fucking god. It's a good movie, but again, it gives you a stomachache. So this is a great movie. I'm happy you checked it out. It now is nominated in the same category as Suicide Squad was, I believe.
Oscar winning Suicide Squad.
That's the crazier thing.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. I haven't seen all the nominees for this category yet for Best Makeup and Hairstyling for 2026. I'm going to see that last film that I need to see later on this week. But I don't know if Ugly Stepsister walks away with this one, so it's crazy that we will likely live in a world where Suicide Squad won an Oscar.
Won an Oscar before a Marvel movie. Suicide Squad did.
Yeah, that's fucking upsetting.
How about that, huh? Killer Croc looks
Killer Croc looks great, but like, cool. Harley Quinn has face paint on. Like,
that was the same year as Star Trek Beyond. You've been watching Star Trek movies. Star Trek Beyond should have won.
I really like that movie.
Yeah.
Yep, that's upsetting. But with it still being Valentine's Day and Corey deciding he's going to watch, or the Valentine's Day weekend and Corey watching An Ugly Stepsister. When did you watch that this week? Was it pretty early?
Yeah, it was like last Monday or something.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. We typically you're gonna try and watch a more romantic movie, or that's why Wuthering Heights coming out this weekend. There's a lot of people rushing out to go see that, as my wife and I did. But The movie that my wife has been really wanting to watch and has been on Netflix, I think, for maybe a month or two at this point. I just haven't gotten around to it. She wanted to watch People We Meet on Vacation so desperately, and it was a toss-up between watching that yesterday on Valentine's Day or Hard Eyes, which we've seen Hard Eyes. We love Hard Eyes, directed by Josh Rubin. We love that movie. She's been really wanting to watch People We Meet on Vacation, so I was like, you know what, fine, let's just get it over with, essentially, because I wasn't that excited about it. But I do like the cast. This is starring Emily Bader, Tom Blythe, Alan Ruck, and Molly Shannon. Also Jamila Jamil, who I believe is in The Good Place, which I actually really like the first season of that show a lot. This is a kind of what I said about Wuthering Heights, and kind of the same thing with Crime 101. Very formulaic movie. This is a film that tackles kind of that romantic will they won't they genre, and it handles all of that formula and those tropes to a T. Like, it hits all those beats, but this, I think, was a very charmingly done straight-to-streaming Netflix film. I was pretty surprised by it. So Poppy, played by Emily Bader, wants to explore the world, and Alex, played by Tom Blythe, prefers to stay at home with a good book, but somehow they're the very best friends. They live far apart, but for a decade they designate, hey, a week every summer we're going to go on a vacation together, which is a kind of, for a long time throughout the movie, it's just a really good friendship of them hanging out, going on these weird vacations, exploring the world, and you get a lot of, like, I like movies about, like, vacations or, like, going to, like, a tropical setting. It's just, like, it makes me want to travel. This movie made me want to travel. But also, you have a lot of will they, won't they, which it works to a degree, but also it's just, like, I know that this movie is saying these things because this is the way a movie would say. Like, it all fits too perfectly into the formula that it's kind of annoying at times. I'm surprised to say that of Wuthering Heights or People We Meet on Vacation, I prefer People We Meet on Vacation. It was kind of a charming, fun, sometimes some really good humor romance movie, and it like I said, it's formulaic, but it works. It's an easy watch. It's fun. The chemistry between the two leads is very great, very good. I like Tom Blythe a lot. My wife loves Tom Blythe a lot, which is why we watched this. But I think the performances were good. It's a fun movie. You get a lot of great imagery from the travel, and it's, like, actually well shot for being just a kind of a, not like it's a throwaway bad, but just kind of like a generic romance movie on Netflix. So I'd recommend this film if you're watching something or still trying to get that romantic rom-com feel around this time of year. I recommend People We Meet on Vacation. It's easily accessible, and it's a pretty good watch. It's worth your time.
So I've been catching up on a few movies. I got Disney Plus and Hulu for basically Wonder Man, but then just kind of filling out other things while I have that this month to kind of watch a lot of stuff on there. And two movies from 2024 that I had wanted to see for a while. Caught up on this week. The first one is In a Violent Nature, and this is I feel like the big talk of this movie was that it's from the POV of the killer, basically, or from that. It's not necessarily that. It's not like it's not a Hardcore Henry thing where it's like the POV, which I'm not a big fan of that movie, but it's the focus is on that character. It's from, like, basically a video game, third person of kind of behind him as he's going along, and it's these kids out in the woods. They find this locket, and that kind of brings up Johnny, the spirit from like 70 years ago, killed a bunch of people, and now he's wrecking havoc. And I dug this movie. I thought it was a really cool movie, just with that perspective of kind of following the Jason Voorhees character throughout the woods. He's a lot of scenes of him just walking along, kind of doing shit, which if people don't like the movie and they're like, it's boring and slow, I'm like, I get it. I understand. If you fucking hate this, I totally get that.
It's also kind of funny because it's like, well, what is the killer doing on the other side of the story? Like, if you're watching, like, a group of characters and like, there's a killer outside, it's like, yeah, the character needs to walk from here to here. Right. We're just gonna see it in this movie, and it works.
You don't have the movie magic of, like, we'll cut and edit things together. It's like, we'll show you what happens here. It has a very deliberate pace, which is intentional. I like that. I think the cinematography is beautiful in this movie. It's in I don't know if it's exactly 4:3. I think it's Academy ratio that it's in, but it looks fantastic, and there's a lot of great practical effects in this movie. The kills, I mean, the biggest thing I think I've heard from this movie is the yoga kill scene, which is one of the coolest kills I've ever seen in a movie, where I'm like, leading up to it, I was like, oh, okay, I see the yoga mat, I see the girl doing yoga, whatever. I'm like, this is happening.
Did you not know how it went down?
I didn't know the specifics of it, because I just heard about the yoga scene. I'm like, oh, okay, here it is. And it starts out, and I'm like, oh, okay, it was a good kill. And then it's like, oh, Oh, fuck. Oh, that's how...
Oh, it's not done.
Oh, I didn't know the body could fucking move like that. Fuck. A lot of great shit like that. Just scenes of a boulder getting dropped on someone's head and just splats. Another scene of, like, somebody... The killer, who Johnny... His kind of main thing after getting, like, summoned again is he wants to get this locket back. It was his mother's locket back in the day. And he doesn't... Like, he kills anybody that doesn't have the locket, essentially. He's just doing this shit for the love of the game. Like, he's just kind of doing it, and he's just like, locket's like there. There's 3 people here. I'm like, I'll kill one of you first.
He's like, I'm gonna take the long way around.
I'm gonna take 35 hacks at this dude's head just because I can. Fantastic stuff. But he has a guy on a log splitter at one point where he's just like kind of starts with a limb, and then he's like, I can probably do more of your body on there, and just lets the log splitter go down. Again, a very deliberate pace of showing you the entire process, not cutting, not like trimming it up. It's just like cut off the arm, then it's like, all right, I gotta move this, stop this, move the thing back, do this. Like, I enjoyed seeing the process of just what a serial killer is doing here.
It's honestly scarier to seeing it slowed down and him being methodical about it.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, so I like that this movie exists. I think it's really cool. My only real flaw is that it's about an hour and a half, and the last like 15 minutes is basically 2 characters in a car that are talking, and it feels really unnecessary and kind of kills all the like momentum that was built up. So I think you trim that up a bit. Like, honestly, this could have been a really cool short film, like 30 to 40 minute short film. I think would have been sweet. But regardless, I'm happy it exists. I think it's a fun little slasher that has a nice little twist of the kind of the perspective and where the focus of the movie is.
I really like this movie. I'm happy you saw it. The one thing that I'm kind of scared about is that we are getting a sequel, I think, to this film. I don't know exactly when, but I know that there's been development on it. I don't know if I need a sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
It feels like the novelty of it will wear off at some point. Like, it works well enough in this first movie of Johnny just kind of going on his little reign of terror and just walking through people. I don't know if it warrants a sequel to it. So I'm optimistic just because it's a horror movie coming out eventually, and I like the first one enough to where I will definitely go and see it. But I'm a little scared that I'm like, this movie is very deliberately paced. It builds a lot of that momentum slowly, and kind of similar to what you said, in the final like 10 minutes, it kind of drains a lot of that momentum. I don't know how a second movie gets a lot of that momentum unless you're just like upping the body count or like just doing like the typical sequel type shit. So, and I like how vague and so quintessential like 80s slasher it is with the motivation of Johnny of like he's getting the locket of his mom, and I'm like, yeah, that fits, that works. So I'm like, don't develop that too much. So I'm a little trepidatious about a sequel, but I like this movie a lot, and I'm happy you finally watched it.
The other one that I watched from 2024 was Hellboy the Crooked Man. There's a little bit of background. I love the first Hellboy movie that Del Toro directed with Ron Perlman in the lead role. I grew up watching that all the time. I fucking love it. I really like the sequel, The Golden Army. I think that's also a fun movie. Del Toro came back for that one as well. I'd love if he would have done a third movie.
Which do you prefer of the two?
The first one I
really?
like. Yeah, I mean, okay. I think I like them both. I think they're both really fun, but the first one I don't know. I have such good memories of watching that movie. And then I saw the 2019 Hellboy movie in theaters on Easter, actually, which that doesn't feel right.
No.
I could have seen that or Missing Link, and I chose Hellboy, and I still haven't seen Missing Link. So
Missing Link's great.
Yeah, I made the wrong choice there. But anyways, David Harbour, good as Hellboy. The movie, not good at all. It's just generic slop.
Still haven't seen it.
Yeah, you don't need to. You also probably don't need to see Hellboy the Crooked Man. This is a very different movie from the other Hellboy films. It's very small budget. I think the budget on the movie was like $20 million, but then they reshot a bunch of the movie and they had like nothing. It's a small scale movie about Hellboy and like one of these agents that kind of their initial task gets derailed and they are just in the woods with like witches and like this old church. It says it takes place in the 50s. You don't feel that at all. It's just in the woods.
Yeah.
And like at one old church and then one old building at the end. So I'm like, I guess like when I saw the plot for it, I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. Like an old like in the 50s Hellboy. That's an interesting time setting, but it didn't really matter in this movie. I appreciate the small scale comic book adventure of it where it's just this kind of offshoot almost, where it's like a side quest on a video game, or like this felt like it could have been an episode of a Hellboy TV show, where it's just like, here's a little adventure, a little side quest, doesn't have huge stakes. The Crooked Man character is like coming up from the dead and killing people in the woods, and they're trying to stop him essentially. And it's fine, but it's very boring. It is, again, it's only like an hour and a half, but fuck, is this movie slow. I was like checking my watch, I was like, oh fuck, there's still 45 minutes left. No. So it just, you know, without much else to say, I mean, there's, again, this movie has chapters also that are very unnecessary. Doesn't matter at all. The effects in the movie are not very good. With that smaller budget, I kind of expected that. There's some, like, the opening scene on a train with a spider isn't very good. Some demon stuff doesn't look great. Some of the makeup on Hellboy is like, it looks like a guy painted red. Not incredible. So, I guess I just wanted to finish off with, this isn't really positive or negative, but just things that happened in the movie. I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And so I wrote them down. Again, not positive or negative, just plot points so you can hear them and see if you maybe want to watch this movie. There's a point where a raccoon crawls through a window into a woman's skin suit and then turns into a woman. And then there's another part where this evil witch who is kind of putting spells on people in the woods, she's on a horse, she rides up to our main characters, she gets off the horse, she flies up into the air, the horse lies down, and then the horse turns into one of the main character's dad. And then another thing is that whose father was the horse, he has a cat bone, a lucky cat bone, because he was going to get into some witchy stuff as a kid, but then he didn't, but he still kept this lucky cat bone that got him through the war. And in a climax part of the movie at a church, the characters use the cat bone to draw a cross onto a shovel, and then they can use that to ward off the dead. Again, those are just things that happen.
Sometimes, like, character backstory, just because you're giving a character backstory does not make it automatically good.
Yeah, again, it's just shit that happens, and I was just like, wait, what? I just had to write it down so I remembered those specifically. Maybe I'm making the movie sound more interesting than it is. It's
a little bit.
It's really boring. And this movie comes from Brian Taylor, who directed the Crank movies, Gamer, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. Like, he's done work before.
Not all great.
No.
Gamer, as I was like, I rented that movie from Blockbuster a lot. It has Michael C. Hall, who I love. I watched all of Dexter, at least the original run of Dexter. And I watched that movie mainly as a kid just to see boobs. And you got boobs, and that was great. And that movie was great for that purpose. But around that, even as like an 11-year-old watching that movie, I was like, this movie kind of sucks. And then Spirit of Vengeance, I barely finished that movie. I had to watch that in, I think, 3 sittings. But Brian Taylor, I think he has a co-director that he works alongside. I don't know if it is just him for the Crank films, I forget. But Crank and Crank High Voltage. Crank High Voltage is one of the awesomest, best, ridiculous, coolest movies, coolest sequels I've ever seen. It is one of the dumbest fucking things ever put to screen. And I think if you ever want to have like a good night where you drink, get drunk, watch a fucking awesome, fun, stupid-ass movie, and have a good night, Crank 2 High Voltage, definitely check it out. It's got Jason Statham doing wild shit because he has like this robotic heart that's gonna stop, and he needs to do shit to keep his heart rate up, so it's just him on a tear, fucking a woman on a horse track and gyrating up against like an old retiree and like just doing wacky shit, grabbing like electric boxes and just shocking himself to shit. It's the most nonsensical bullshit ever, but it's so much fucking fun. I love those first two Crank films. But yeah, I can't really say that Brian Taylor really lived up to that for the rest of his films, and from the way you're describing it, I don't think Hellboy the Crooked Man really has sold me either. So
no, I can't recommend this movie or the 2019 Hellboy. Watch the first two. Watch the Del Toro and Ron Perlman ones. Those are great. Those are really cool, and kind of in an early age of comic book movies, and I think they hold up really well. Very quickly, been doing my Peaky Blinders watch through. I'm halfway through now. Finished season 3 this week. Fucking still great. Nothing's changed. The show is fucking awesome. I've talked about how cool I think these characters are. The big thing with this season is Tommy goes through some shit. I don't want to spoil anything because I know you're watching through it right now.
Episode in.
Hey, that's a start. Tommy is going through some shit. This season opens with a wedding, and it ends with a sort of train heist / explosion / all this kind of stuff. And the big theme of this season is kind of, one of them at least, is dealing with grief and the choices that you make after a certain character experiences something, and what they do, what they try and do.
I appreciate how vague you're trying to keep
this. Yes. I don't want to spoil it, because if it was, I didn't know anything about this show or like what specifically happened, so it was fun to just be like, oh, I didn't know that happened now. Fuck. Okay, that's tough. But really just that, and then the trust that everybody is putting in other people is a big thing. Trust is a huge theme this season, and there's a great line. I think it is Tommy that says it, but I wrote it down just kind of after some shit has gone down with the group. He says, you can change what you do, but you can't change what you want. And that's such a big thing of this, where like you can try and move somewhere else, you can try and get a different profession, different job, but like that core internal part of yourself, that's never going to leave you. And that's a big thing here. So really great character work this season. Arthur also has a really interesting arc of, he kind of gets a woman who is very religious and godly, so he's trying to be a better person, and the challenges of being a peaky fucking blinder and also trying to find God doesn't quite mesh super well.
Doesn't make sense.
So it's really fun to watch that. The character of Michael, played by Finn Cole, also has kind of a step up this season. I really like where he goes. Tom Hardy has the scene that you've probably seen from Peaky Blinders of Tom Hardy blowing up at Cillian Murphy. It's fucking fantastic. It is such a great scene of the ideologies of these characters and how they go about their business, but when something personal happens to them, they go back on that because it's personal with their family. Tom Hardy fucking kills it. The train explosion, heist, all these moving pieces of like trying to steal jewelry and doing all this stuff. Really fun. Love this show. Cannot wait to keep watching it. I'm excited that you have begun the journey of watching it.
Yeah, I'm going to try and urge my wife to continue, because she wants to watch it, which anytime we decide to watch something together, I know that we have to kind of make it work within each other's schedules and what they want to watch on a given evening. But I'm going to be pushing my wife to maybe just like sit down, maybe don't even watch it with me, just be in the same room while the show's on, so I can make more progress on this show, because I've only watched the first episode of the show. I've seen the first episode of the show now twice. I'd like to see what happens next. So, and I really like already the setup of the show. It's just already you get the camaraderie, you get the chemistry, you get kind of the very ground level threat and the urgency of what the Shelby family is doing as like the Peaky Blinders, which my one gripe I will say with this show, and I know it's probably not going to go away, is how many fucking times they say Peaky Blinders in an episode.
Love it.
If you turn it into a drinking game, you will die by the end of it, like 10 minutes.
Take a shot of whiskey every time.
You will die. You will die of alcohol poisoning. Because I'm like, every other line is Sam Neill saying the Peaky Blinders, and then Tom Shelby, the Peaky Blinders. And I'm like,
by order, the Peaky fucking Blinders.
It's like, oh my god, okay, I get it. I know who you are. Just shut the fuck up. But I'm really excited to watch it. I'm jealous of you for being as far. And that scene that you talked about with Tom Hardy is the reason why I want to watch this show so bad. So I'm eager to... I never knew where it took place within the 6 seasons. So now knowing, I'm like, all right, I need to get there.
This season also leaves off on a very like, oh, fuck. I didn't know this was going to happen. And I'm very excited to see what happens. Yes.
Which, honestly, 6 seasons sound so daunting. 6 episode seasons, only 36 episodes total. That's so easy to me in my mind. So hopefully I'll be able to plug away and get more progress on this, because March 20th is kind of that deadline of, all right, Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man comes out. Is it straight to Netflix? Do you know?
Well, they're doing in theaters like early March. Oh, so that's what I'm planning for. Is like, I want to see it in theaters. So it's like March 5th or 6th maybe. So that's kind of, I've obviously 3 seasons left, so I'm like, I'm on pretty good pace.
You're plugging along. You've gotten a season a week almost. So.
So I'm excited to see that in theaters.
Homework.
Yeah.
Not to say, not just that, but we also have a good slate of new releases coming out this week on February 20th. We have the Glenn Powell starring, Margaret Qualley supporting Also, Ed Harris in How to Make a Killing, coming from A24. This is directed by John Patton Ford, director of the film Emily the Criminal, which I haven't seen, but Corey loves. It's
very
a good Aubrey Plaza-led crime thriller, I think.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I don't know much about that movie, but disowned at birth by his obscenely wealthy family, blue-collar Beckett, Red Fellow, played by Glenn Powell, will stop at nothing to reclaim his inheritance. He's just going to kill off everyone ahead of him. I like the trailers. I'm somewhat sold on it. It's just got a lot to watch. I hope to watch this maybe sometime soon. I don't know if it's going to be this week. We also have Psycho Killer, coming from director Gavin Polone. This is starring Georgina Campbell, Malcolm McDowell, James Preston Rogers, and it's a police officer tracking down the killer after her husband, a highway patrolman, becomes one of his victims. So it looks kind of like a slasher, horror, almost procedural of trying to find and track down a killer. The trailers look pretty hard-edged and hard R, and I'm kind of interested in it, so I might try and check this one out if it's showing around us. We also have I Can Only Imagine 2, which I know everyone was really wanting a sequel to the original I Can Only Imagine, which came out in, 2016? This is coming from director Andrew Irwin and Brent McCorkle, which they also directed the previous one, as well as I Still Believe, An American Underdog. This movie I know little to nothing about. I have not seen the first one. I know you have. Are you going to go try and check this out with your mom?
My mom will probably want to watch this at some point. What I will say is that these faith-based movies typically do pretty well at the box office.
Yeah.
They don't cost a lot of money to make, and a lot of people want to go see them. So, like, God's Not Dead and I Still Believe, they do pretty well on their budgets.
Not necessarily, I feel like mostly marketed as strictly a faith-based movie, but Sound of Freedom is still a movie made by Angel Studios that I really actually want to check out. I know you watched before,
it's pretty good.
I need to check that one out. Also coming out this week, a movie that I already have my tickets to. It probably, aside from the Oscars, I don't know if I really would have paid much attention to this movie, but Kakuo, which I said...
Got the name right, man.
Finally
nice.
Correct. I've been rehearsing that so much.
Attaboy.
I'll just be driving, listening to nothing, and be like, Kakuo.
We're probably pronouncing it wrong.
Probably still, but it's better than Kakohu.
Yeah.
Because I said it like 3 times in a row whenever we start talking about it. Just blatantly fucking wrong. But this is directed by Sang-Yin Lee, director of Villain and Rage. This is a film that is nominated for an Academy Award, also similar to The Ugly Stepsister, in that same category for Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling. Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling. In post-war Japan's economic boom, gangster family-born Kiku Tachibana finds himself adopted by a kabuki actor. Despite life's challenges, he develops into a gifted performer. So I know it has a lengthy runtime. I already bought my tickets for Thursday night to go see it, I think at like maybe 5 or 6 at a theater right after work, right near my work. So I'm going to check that out. And then Friday, I'm dedicating the full day to watching all of the Oscar-nominated shorts at the main cinema. So I'm really excited to do both of those this week and get those kind of checked off the list in my Oscar prep. Also, we talked about this, I believe, last week or maybe a week previous, I think, but Pillion, a film starring Alexander Skarsgård, has expanded further out into the national market, so it will be popping out into more theaters in the U.S. So I've heard great things. It's not high up on the list, but I feel like this might be a movie that, come the end of the year, almost like Sorry Baby, or like kind of like that Independent Spirit Awards, like a more smaller, well-renowned movie making it through to the awards shows. I've heard great things, so maybe I'll check it out. I don't know now. I don't know if I have time on my schedule, but it's on my radar. I just need to find time for it. Moving into a physical media roundup, what we purchased lately. I did, despite our conversations of will I watch Star Trek The Final Frontier because it's one of the lesser Star Trek films, or at least is referenced to being one of the lesser Star Trek films, I bought it on 4K and Blu-ray, and I do plan on watching it. I actually started it this past week, and I started it too late on a weeknight, and fell asleep. So, not that the movie's bad so far. I got like 20 to 30 minutes in, and I am enjoying it as I've enjoyed every other Star Trek movie that I've watched through this little franchise watch through. I just didn't finish it, so hopefully I'll get around to that. I also bought Highlander on 4K and Blu-ray, a movie that I've only seen once before. I liked a good amount, but I really remember like the score and the soundtrack more so. I don't think Christopher Lambert is the best actor. Not that anyone is really saying he is, but sometimes his line delivery, I'm just like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, it's just so hammy and cheesy and corny at times, so I'm just like, oh my god. But I'm excited to rewatch it, especially in preparation for the new Highlander movie that we got coming from Chad Stahelski. We got photos of that this past week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm excited to rewatch Highlander. Maybe I'll like it a little bit more. I'm hoping that the picture quality on this release of it is better than the previous Blu-ray release that I used to have, just because it was dog shit. the first time I watched it. I was like, wow, I can't tell what the hell is going on at all in this. So I'm excited to watch it. I know you're a big fan of it, so I'm excited to kind of hopefully revisit it and be able to talk to you about it.
Yeah, very nostalgic movie for me. But yeah, as you mentioned, Dave Bautista got cast as Kurgan in the new movie, so
filling in for Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
So yeah, some fun casting news as far as that movie goes. I enjoy that movie quite a bit. But doggy, we got a lot of stuff coming out this week. Yeah. I wish they would space out some of these releases.
Quit doing the alternating.
Yeah,
all the recent stuff, and then all the next week being
nothing.
All these 40-year-old re-releases.
Yeah, it's wild. But hey, this is the week for 2025 movies. If you want to get some, we have Predator: Badlands, Sisu: Road to Revenge, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, Rental Family, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Silent Night, Deadly Night, the new version, Song Sung Blue, Regretting You, and then some old titles that are coming out on Steelbook and some other ones. Ben-Hur, the original, not the fucking 2016 one or whatever. And then Nightcrawler, one of the most underrated, fucking awesome movies of all time if you haven't seen it. And then All the President's Men and A Beautiful Mind also coming out on 4K. So a lot of great stuff coming out this week. Into movie news, as we often do, and very sadly often start this with, the passing of somebody in Hollywood. This week was James Van Der Beek, and he passed away at the age of 48, so very young. And I'm going to be very honest, I don't know much of his work. I didn't watch Dawson's Creek growing up. I haven't seen it since. I actually haven't seen Varsity Blues, and I really want to watch that movie.
Okay. Yeah.
I love football, I love sports movies, so I maybe we'll check that out very soon just to kind of honor him and respect that. But I don't have much to say, but again, just very sad. Somebody that was a very iconic figure, obviously in the 90s with Dawson's Creek coming out and kind of the teenage heartthrob a lot of people talk about. So rest in peace, James Van Der Beek. Prayers up for friends and family, just kind of going through this right now.
Yeah, this was, I feel like I remember they mentioned, because he's been battling colorectal cancer, which is his cause of death. He's been battling it for, I believe, a year and a half now, or I forget when they made the announcement last year that this was something that his family was being afflicted with. But one, it's sad because he's really young. He's only 48 years old. My father passed away at 41 of a similar illness, so it's that in that regard it kind of hits to home. And I think I'm not the biggest James Van Der Beek snob. I don't know the most about him. I have seen Varsity Blues, and I do decently like that movie. I remember watching that a lot. It was one of the few DVDs my brother Blake owned. He owned that and Hunger Games, a couple of the Harry Potter movies, and then a bunch of the Final Destination movies. I was like, what eclectic bullshit is this? But Varsity Blues is one of those movies. So I had watched it a lot growing up, and I recognize James Van Der Beek. I've always he's always been a prevalent person in my life. I've always known who he is. I've known what he looks like. I never watched Dawson's Creek. But in the wake of him passing, after we were finished, me and my wife watching The People We Meet on Vacation on Netflix, I pulled over to Dawson's Creek, and I just toggled over it to where you can watch a trailer or whatever, or sometimes if it's a series, it'll just start. And the series started, and the first shot, or one of the first shots or first scenes, it's of this house, and it's of James Van Der Beek sitting in a bed with Katie Holmes, and they're watching E.T. And I was like, that's kind of cool, and it's an interesting way to start a show. And it's just these high schoolers talking about how great this movie is, and wow, this movie didn't get this Oscar award or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, what a conversation I would definitely be having in high school. So that kind of hit home for me too. But also to see the biggest thing with this is seeing the outpouring past his passing. He leaves behind 6 kids and a wife, and they've since come out and said, hey, his treatment costs a lot, and it's cost a lot of our kind of main source of income. We don't have a lot of money left. And just the outpouring amongst people in Hollywood, people that knew him directly or indirectly, Zoe Saldana put up $2,500 a month, just reoccurring to them. And I'm just shit like that. It's nice seeing people go to bat for each other, or bringing up the E.T. connection. I was so perplexed when I saw this because I was like, why did Steven Spielberg give them $25,000? One, he's a great guy, I'm sure, but what's his connection to James Van Der Beek? And then toggling over Dawson's Creek, I get to see in the opening that E.T. is being talked about. And I'm just like, interesting. I again, haven't seen all of Dawson's Creek. I don't know if there's more connections to Steven Spielberg or something I'm missing out on, but just seeing how people have responded to this has been really life-affirming and reassuring and just kind of nice and pleasant. Weirdly enough, the thing that jumped to the front of my mind, aside from like Varsity Blues and Dawson's Creek, is in that like fan-made Power Rangers film that came out with like Katie Sackhoff in it. And it was like kind of like the hard edge, hard R fan-made film that came out maybe in 2018 or 19. I don't remember the exact year. He played the Red Ranger in it, and he's interrogating Katie Sackhoff in it. And that was the thing that jumped to my mind right off the bat. So it's a sad thing. It's sad, one, that he's passing away. Yes, we do have his legacy, and maybe for some of us, like Corey and I, where we aren't the most exposed to him, we get to kind of venture more into his back catalog. I do think you should watch Varsity Blues. John Voight's also great in that movie. But also just seeing the outpouring, the love, and just kind of the sincerity of people that are close or not so close to him, just going to bat for him has been really a great sign. So he'll be sadly missed, but as we say always, he'll live on through his legacy, through his works, and we'll get to see that and revisit him as much as we want. It's just, it's kind of out of nowhere. He was young, so it's a sad thing to see.
Absolutely. Transitioning now into some other movie news for the week. We mentioned the Super Bowl, which I don't really want to talk about, aside from the movie trailers.
Ted Season 2.
Is fucking Ted Season 2 had a little snippet in there. Oh, what a great show. If you haven't seen the first season of Ted, that show is so fucking hilarious. It's so good.
Everyone watching that trailer, they're like, oh yeah, I heard about the show. I like the movies. It's like, the show's probably better.
It's great.
It's funny.
It's fucking fantastic. So yeah, a lot of these trailers, it was actually, I feel like compared to the past couple years, actually like a little bit better for trailers. Some of these were like cut down versions of things that were already online. Some things were like a unique spot, which I want to talk about. Some was the first time we've seen a trailer for a movie. So just going to run through them and then kind of give quick thoughts. Ted Season 2, like you mentioned, go watch it. Fucking great. But then The Adventures of Cliff Booth, we'll talk about that in a second here. Project Hail Mary, Disclosure Day, Scream 7, Minions 3, which we got the title of Minions and Monsters, Hoppers, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Supergirl, The Devil Wears Prada 2, Michael, Masters of the Universe, and The Mandalorian and Grogu. So a lot of movies coming out in the next few months here. And again, like some of these we'd seen trailers for before, and like we don't need to touch on a lot of them. The ones that I wanted to mention, though, are the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Weirdly, got a lot of fucking backlash. I don't. Do you remember the trailer?
Yeah. Well, like the clip. It's not even like a trailer. It's not it's probably from the movie. It's just like
a Clydesdale, like Sam
Budweiser.
Elliott's doing the Budweiser ad where it's like Mando and Grogu, just like with tauntauns instead of the horses. I think it's a nice little spot. Like I think. Like, a lot of people were like, it doesn't even show anything from the fucking movie. What the hell is this? I'm like, we have a full trailer for this movie. Like, we know what this movie is. Like, if you're into this movie, like, this is a nice little, like, Super Bowl ad. I like it.
I'm kind of torn on it because, like, when it started, I think I heard about it before the Super Bowl was, like, happening and it aired. So I knew roughly going in. And I don't mind the premise of it, and it works well for a Super Bowl ad where you don't want to spend a stupid amount of money just to give like a 30-second trailer. But like I feel like they're relying on the fact that this is a Star Wars project a little too much, because this is basically a continuation of a TV show that we've had. So like part of me is like, I think it would have been in your guys' better interest to maybe put out an actual trailer. But I'm also like, it works as a Super Bowl ad. Like, this makes sense to me. So I don't love it as a trailer, and I think that whoever made the final decision that this is what they went with for a Super Bowl ad maybe should be demoted. Just because I'm like, you should maybe look to market your movie on something aside from, like, this is not a season 4, but it's a continuation of a show that you can easily access on Disney+. Like, show me something that, like, makes me want to go see this. And this is coming from a Star Wars fan and a Mandalorian fan that will see this opening week, but I'm like, you gotta sell me on something. Give me more. You gotta give me something more. But I get it as a Super Bowl ad. So I'm like, I'm kind of torn. It works for me enough to where I think overall I'm like, it's fine. But I think it was maybe a missed opportunity to maybe shell out a little bit and show out a little bit more of what this movie has to offer. So I don't know. I think the biggest surprise trailer for me was Project Hail Mary. Well, aside from the obvious one, which I think we'll talk about probably last. But the Project Hail Mary one, I've been kind of getting fatigued by these trailers just because I think they've been revealing slightly from what it feels like. As someone who hasn't read the books, it feels like I'm seeing too much of the movie. But I did actually really like this most recent trailer, probably the most of the 3 that have been out so far. I liked Rocky. I like that dynamic. I like what they're exploring already. So I'm excited for that. That movie comes out in a little over a month or whatever. So I'm like, holy shit, that's coming out soon, and I can't wait for that. Aside from that, I don't know. The trailers were fine. These are all it's movies that you and I at least already know about. So it's hard to be like, fuck yeah. But The Adventures of Cliff Booth. When you said, hey, if Netflix wanted to put a trailer like that out, I was like, I don't know if they would do that at the Super Bowl. And then lo and behold, it was like one of the first ones.
I figured Netflix would do something.
But for that, I was like, it was so good. And you got James Caan, or not James Caan, is it Scott Caan, his son? Mm-hmm. The way that they scratch out
the negative of like middle fingers, F word, whatever. You got Elizabeth Debicki in there. Like this, they kind of talk about the end of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And the vibes of this movie. I think I forget how long like after it takes place from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but 5 years maybe. Like it's a good chunk of time after that movie. But if you don't know, if you're new to listening, don't know us all that well, Cliff Booth is one of my favorite characters in film ever. Mason and I dressed up as Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth for Halloween. That's where he met his wife at a party in Duluth, where I introduced them and all that. So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has a very special place in both movie land and real world for both of us. Mm. And then the announcement that David Fincher is directing a Quentin Tarantino script from one of my favorite characters of all time,
focusing on that character. Whereas, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's a story between those two co-leads of Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth, but this is Cliff Booth doing his own shit.
You think Rick Dalton shows up?
Oh, I didn't even think about it.
I think he makes a little appearance.
I feel like he's got to.
I think so.
I don't think that they'd start with it, but I wouldn't be surprised randomly cut to he's getting lunch at a diner and he's sitting across from Rick.
Like a movie set at some point, or
I'd be so thrilled about that. Yeah. I don't want a big role from Rick.
No.
Rick Dalton at all. I want this little appearance. But a little appearance would be pretty sweet.
It'd be fantastic. So, a decent year for Super Bowl trailers. The Supergirl one, I guess I'll shout out. That kind of had some new footage of her and Crypto, and I think that's what I appreciate, because most Super Bowl trailers are a cut down version of a full trailer, and then at the end it says watch the full trailer online.
Yeah,
we get that all the time. I guess that's why I appreciate the Mandalorian and Grogu one, where it's you know what you're getting with this movie. It's Star Wars. It's these two characters. Have a little fun with it. Do something different. I like that.
I think if they gave a little bit of a sting on the back end of that ad of them of the Sam Elliott narration and them just clapping through on tauntaun. I think if they did a little quick shot by shot some action beats of the movie in a small little 10-second clip, I think that probably would have worked better for me. Sure. But I still do like it as a little Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, so decent year. As far as other trailers this week, kind of the main one was Spider Noir, which is a new series coming on to Amazon Prime later this year, starring Nicolas Cage reprising his voice role from the Spider-Verse films of Spider-Man Noir. And this is kind of interesting. It's going to be in black and white, or you can watch it in color. I like that they're doing that. I'll definitely watch the black and white version. I think that fits for the noir, obviously. But cool trailer. I sort of wish this was an animated thing. From the get-go, I was I think you can just do more with the Spider Noir character and web swinging and all that kind of stuff in animated form. A 50-year-old Nicolas Cage in action scenes. It's you're gonna have to obviously cut around that a bit and do that. So I'm still very excited for this. Don't get me wrong. I'm stoked to see what this series is. But it's I think it's April maybe that it comes out, if I remember right. So curious to see what happens here, but I like the trailer for sure. Yeah,
I think I agree with you, and that was kind of, I think the overall approach of it when they announced that it was gonna be a live action thing is why? One, it'd be cool to see Nicolas Cage actually do this for real, but also I'd prefer, I think, just in that animation styling, and just what was it that he says in his introduction? He's drinking milk colas and punching Nazis or whatever the fuck he says. It's some ridiculous shit. But I like that world. I haven't watched the full trailer. I just saw like the stills of it, and I like that they're doing a colorized or a black and white version. I'm gonna watch the black and white. It fits. It makes sense. But the stills look great, so I'm really excited to watch this. Aside from the fact that I do think maybe you probably should have just done this as animation. I don't know if that would have further backlogged animators and made Beyond the Spider-Verse come out later than it already is, but I think overall I would have preferred this in animation, but I'm excited to see it regardless.
Yeah, award season stuff. Just a quick little roundup. We mentioned the Oscars are happening in a month. Tonight, actually, are the Indie Spirit Awards. I'm excited to watch those. It's going to be on like their YouTube page. I think IMDb is putting it on their YouTube page, so feel free to check those out. But just wanted to mention a quick little Costume Designers Guild Awards if you're looking for maybe a little help to fill out your Oscar ballot of who you think will win. The winners here: contemporary film, One Battle After Another; period film, Frankenstein; sci-fi fantasy film, Wicked for Good; and then just a couple TV things. Contemporary TV went to The Studio, period TV, Palma Royale, and sci-fi and fantasy went to Andor. So some good winners there. Happy to see those get some awards. And then the last few movie news things we have. We have a new Mummy movie coming out this year, but there's an announcement for another Mummy movie that's happening. The Mummy 4 with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. We knew that it was coming out, but now we have a release date for May 19th, 2028. So it's going to be kind of a reboot, or continuation of what they're doing there. Probably not, connected to Lee Cronin's Mummy at all. They're doing a bunch of different Mummy things right now.
I think it's going to be close to 20 years post Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, too.
Yeah, probably around 20
years.
Which is
there. Crazy.
Very insane. We also have a video game, Helldivers, which I don't know anything about.
No.
But it's getting a film adaptation directed by Justin Lin and with Jason Momoa starring in the lead role. And then we got some news on the Marvel's, the one-shot for Punisher. It's called Punisher One-Shot. We've had a couple of these like special presentations with Werewolf by Night, the Guardians Holiday Special. That's going to be coming out this year. We don't have an exact release date yet, but it's going to be following up Frank Castle from Daredevil Born Again. Very excited for that one. And then Mike Flanagan was announced to be tackling an adaptation of The Mist from Stephen King. And I have not read The Mist. I think there was a movie adaptation before of The Mist. Maybe? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Or at least there was a movie called The Mist, and maybe it's not an adaptation of the book, and I haven't seen any of them. So, I don't know.
The movie's pretty good. You haven't seen the... I was going to say Thomas Hayden Church. The Punisher from 2004. Who is that?
Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane. Thank you.
No, I have not. So
pretty good movie. Great ending.
So I'll probably check out that movie before this new one comes out. Mike Flanagan, obviously a big voice in horror right now. And then just a little news, again, kind of Oscar stuff. F1 the movie, nominated for a bunch of Oscars, including Best Picture this year. It's getting a sequel, which I'm down for. I'm down for a little, maybe if it's not exactly like Formula One racing, but like we end off the first movie with Dune buggy racing, or like you get a fucking Days of Thunder reference with Tom Cruise in there, throw that in the sequel. Fuck it, sure, I'm down for that. So obviously made them a lot of money and they want to capitalize on that.
I think that they have to incorporate Tom Cruise, whether it's from Days of Thunder or not. You have to bring him in to a sequel of this. I can't wait. I watched Days of Thunder for the first time last year with my wife. I think it was right around 4th of July, and there's a line in that movie that we say to each other all the fucking time now, just in passing. We'll be doing laundry, and she'll just like come up to me and she'll be like, bumping and rubbing is racing, brother. And I'm just like, it's such a crazy fucking thing to say. But I'm excited for a sequel. I hope Tom Cruise is a part of it somehow. But anyway, that'll do it for us today. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews, as well as movie news. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, Instagram, Corey's TikTok, whatever we're doing. We're trying to put out more reviews. I actually finally put out film reviews on Instagram for the first time since Bone Temple for Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, and
Crime 101.
Crime 101. I was like, did I do Wuthering Heights? I didn't do Wuthering Heights because I didn't really care that much for it. But in the world of film, it's not just about what's on screen. It's about who's next to you in the theater.
For Mason and I, Slate Night, that's a wrap.